friends, today I'm going to show you how to color this card. And I colored the can to look sort of like this pan that was in my kitchen, and I'm using the Country Home stamp set. We're going to color the can to look like that pan. You need to use Tuxedo Black Momento ink with the Stampin' blends, because the Stampin' blends are alcohol markers and this is a water-based ink. First I'll stamp my little watering can, and then I'm going to stamp a bouquet of foliage and flowers. The photopolymer makes it really easy to stamp. You'll notice I stamped on the pad. I'm going to start with Rich Razzleberry, and I'm going to use the brush tip end of my lighter Rich Razzleberry and just sort of color in the bigger leaves. I just thought they would look colorful. I'm going to use green elsewhere, so I thought I would go with some purple here. So just go ahead and color those leaves with the light. You can leave a little bit of white if you want. And then we're going to go back with the smaller end, or the fine tip end, of our darker Rich Razzleberry Stampin' Blend. And we're going to do a little shading. We'll go where the lines are. We'll go where the shadows are. Just get a little bit of dark so that it's gives it a little depth. And then you can go back with the light Rich Razzleberry and blend the light and the dark so that it doesn't look like a stark line. Then I got a little bit out of my line, and you can take the color lifter and just sort of push that ink back up to where it belongs. It's really easy to do. Next, I'm going to use the soft suede. I'm using the lighter soft suede to color my cattails. Super simple. And then I'm just going to, where the darker part is, the shading part, I use the dark soft suede, and we'll just blend it just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to use the light Cherry Cobbler pen. I'm using the small pen because I'm just getting these little teeny berries, so I needed a small end for that. Super simple. And then I'm going to use the dark Granny Apple Green for the little ferny looking foliage. And I'm using the fine tip also because the little foliage is very small. I won't be doing any shading on this. So just go ahead and color that in. I like the variation in the different greens. You'll see I'm going to use Old Olive for the little artichoke. I think it's an artichoke. I don't know what it is. There in the center. So I wanted to use the Granny Apple so that in nature the greens are never exactly the same. For the foliage you have different greens. So I'm going to start again with the light Old Olive, and we'll just sort of color that in. Pretty easy. And then I'm going to go and try to hit the areas where I think it would be shaded or darker, which is a lot of it actually. You can go back and blend if you want. It's a pretty small area, so you don't want to add a lot more color there. Then I'm going to use my dark Cajun Craze marker. You could use the light one if you want, but I wanted mine to, this is to look like the rust. And now I'm using a soft seafoam, and I'm going to go over the whole thing, even the Cajun Craze, just to sort of blend it out a little bit. Leave a little bit of white space so it looks like a light is shining on your can. Then I'm going to go in with the dark soft seafoam and color where the shadows are, over the rust, and ta-da! Wasn't that easy? So that's how I colored my Country Home stamp. And to put together the rest of the card, I used my Layering Ovals dies. And you saw in a previous video I showed you how to do the buffalo check stamp, or to make a plaid out of that. So I can decide if I want the plaid or the buffalo checked. I think I'm going to go with the buffalo check. And we'll just go ahead and put that on. And then I used my Corrugated Dynamic Impressions embossing folder to make my little panel there. I stamped first and then ran it through my Big Shot with the embossing folder. So it gives me a nice panel. You want to cut it a little longer than your card because it's going to, once you emboss, it's going to shrink a little bit. And then we'll pop the ovals up with Stampin' Dimensions. And our card is complete. If you missed the previous video, I show how to make checks from the buffalo plaid. You can see the two different variations there. Thanks so much for stopping by, and have a fabulous day.